what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. Tonight, we're just going to do our Saturday night hangout. We'll go over some of the inactives, the news that came out today, and we will just kind of look into who you guys need for start-sit questions, and we'll just kind of go through the lobby with whatever you guys got for questions tonight. We'll probably go about 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes at the most. But let's get into it. Before I start answering questions, I did start putting some injury news here. George Kittle's going to be on IR for at least the next 3 weeks with a calf injury. They also got Packers putting Jaire Alexander on the IR with a shoulder injury. Max Williams is going to be questionable for tomorrow's game. Elijah Mitchell looks like he's good to go. He's not on the injury report at all going into tomorrow's game. You also have Cortland Sutton questionable. He tweaked his ankle on Friday. So that's a new injury there. And then I kind of just wanted to see if there's anything else that stuck my we're looking okay here, I think, for the most part. We already know who's already in and out for the most part here. I did want to pull up one thing before I found like a list of everyone reporting who's in and who's out. Let me see. So players not playing tomorrow: Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, Jimmy Garoppolo, George Kittle, Julio Jones, Rob Gronkowski, Deshaun Watson, Logan Thomas, Jaire Alexander, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, of course, David Montgomery, and that's a huge list of players that are out. And then players that are expected to play: A.J. Brown, Chase Claypool, Josh Gordon's expected to play tomorrow, so that should be kind of fun to see what he does here. But what's going on, Aiden? Good evening. Good evening to Justin as well. First question is Corey Davis, AB, Jamar Chase, or Devonta Smith start one? I'm really interested in getting my Bengals receivers in my lineups in this one because there's no Jaire Alexander. I think Kevin King's also coming back for Green Bay, so they're a little bit better at cornerback than they have been in the last few weeks. But getting Jamar Chase in the lineup seems to be probably the safest move in a game where Green Bay is probably going to score points. I would expect Jamar Chase to be up there as well. So I'm going to rank Jamar Chase as probably the best play. I really like Antonio Brown and Corey Davis. I feel a little uneasy with their floors right now. So I'm going to say Jamar Chase is probably the guy I want to get in those lineups. Dalvin Cook. We're looking at a game time decision with Dalvin Cook. I know that's not what we want, but even if Cook plays, I don't think we're going to see him get a full workload in this one. So I'm going to probably downgrade Dalvin Cook to like a running back 2 for me. I expect him to get the ball maybe 10 to 12 times at least. But I don't think we're going to see him touch the ball more than 20 times. So I think he's leaning towards playing. But again, we have to really watch that pregame stuff tomorrow. And I think they play at noon. Let me just double check that. I'm looking for this tomorrow's schedule. I believe it's a noon game. So we should know maybe around 10:30, 11 o'clock at the latest. Let me just pull up the schedule real quick. But I would expect Alexander Madison to be involved in some capacity against the Lions at home. Like, they really don't need Cook to play, so like, I'm a little bit nervous about Dalvin Cook. Allen Robinson, sell or hold. I can get AB and Mike Davis. At that point, I'm probably going to do it, especially if you're going to use Mike Davis. You get two good players. Allen Robinson, I know we drafted him in the 3rd round. Antonio Brown and Mike Davis were probably, like, Davis might have been a 6th or 7th round pick. Antonio Brown probably a little bit later too. So I would probably do it. If you really need the help at running back, I'd probably do it and just try to get out of the Chicago offense right now. It's not very exciting. Is Kyle Pitts a top 5 tight end this week? He's close. He's going to be really close. I think. I mean, there's like, who are the guys that we need to, must starts? You're starting Kelsey and you're starting Waller. After that, like, it's kind of like, hit or miss, take your pick kind of thing. So I think he can be a top 5 tight end. I think he's a good bet to maybe get his first career touchdown in London too. So I think he's probably a top 5 tight end this week. Gibson, any concern on the injury? So he's got it sounds like a little crack in his shin. I think they're probably putting padding in there. So this is going to be a pain tolerance thing for him. I mean, you don't take too many big hits to the shin. It's more ankles and whatnot. So I'm of course, you got to be nervous anytime someone's got like a slightly broken shin, right? But it sounds like he can play through it. It sounds like it's just a small crack in there, and they're going to keep him limited in practice to avoid his weight and stuff being on that leg. But for now, I'm not too concerned, especially. I mean, they've already been kind of limiting his work anyway, so it seems like they got him in a good groove right now. They know his schedule week to week is going to be light practices, and then hopefully get him ready for the game time. So I guess if you do have Antonio Gibson, I wouldn't be opposed to picking up Jared Patterson if you needed somebody. It's going to be a little bit tougher game this week, as Tim says here. It's against the Saints D. But I'm not too worried about that. Saints D has been kind of hit or miss so far this year. So I'm still expecting Antonio Gibson to probably be a top 15, top 20 back this week, especially if he gets the touchdown. He's in good shape. So we'll see. But yeah, it's small concern. Just we gotta watch for him going forward. I'm just curious, when is the Washington football team bye? They could probably do with a bye pretty soon here. Let me see what they got. So they don't have a bye till week 9. So like, we're okay with this. They're going to get New Orleans this week, Kansas City, Green Bay, and then Denver. So as long as he can hold up for those 4 games and get that extra week with the bye, I think we're going to be okay with our guy here. What's up with Zeke? I'm not too concerned about Zeke. It sounded like they handled his injury pretty well. It sounded like he had. Let me just pull up what I'm looking at here. Ezekiel. I never remember if there's 2 L's in Ezekiel. But yeah, didn't he have the hamstring injury? What was the injury here? Let me see real quick. I know he was really light in practice on Wednesday, or he didn't even practice at all on Wednesday, but it sounded like he was good to go. They're just being cautious with him. I'm looking for it right now. Where are you, Ezekiel Elliott? So he's got the knee injury. I'm not sure what it was, but it sounds like it was kind of nothing. They're just being cautious with him. He said it was a little sore kind of thing. So anytime one of your highest paid players has something sore, you're not really going to stress him out. So I'm not too concerned with it. A little bit of knee soreness on Wednesday. He was limited Thursday, and he was able to practice on Friday. Damian Harris, Crowder, or Gainwell, PPR start 1. PPR. I don't know if Gainwell's in the conversation with these guys for me. I'm kind of interested in Jamison Crowder, though. He looked pretty good, and it is the Falcons' defense, which we should consider pretty much starting anybody against that defense. So Jamison Crowder sticks out. He seems to be a guy that can hit 10 to 12 points. And in a PPR league, like, he feels the safest. I do like Damian Harris's prospects of scoring a touchdown. So to me, I guess if you want the steady pick, I'm going to go Crowder. If you want the guy with probably the best upside for a touchdown, it's probably Harris. So I'm going to say Crowder for me. I like the PPR upside there for 6 or 7 catches. 10-team PPR played against DK maybe. He scored 27. I love Mahomes. I have Mahomes, Zeke, Allen, DJ Moore, Knox, Diggs. Should I play Hunt or CPAT or Damian Williams? Between the two, I mean, I'm leaning. It's hard to sit Cordero Patterson for me right now. I do like the volume there for Damian Williams. And then Kareem Hunt's just been so steady right now. So if this is full PPR, I mean, I'd probably rank them as CPAT, Hunt, and Damian Williams. I'm going to continue to roll with Cordero Patterson. He's just too hot to sit right now. And with Calvin Ridley out, we might see him more used as a pass catcher. So I'm going to say Cordero Patterson here. Mike Davis would be my RB4 if I do the deal. It's a good depth piece. I mean, you're nervous about starting Allen Robinson. I really don't see the difference between Allen Robinson and Antonio Brown right now, and then just the added luxury of getting Mike Davis on your team. So I think that's totally fine. What's wrong with Deandre Swift? I was just reading about that. He's listed as questionable. It sounds like he's just one of those players where they want to really manage his week-to-week practice schedule. So it says he's got a groin injury. He was limited in practice. He's got the questionable tag, but he looks fine. This is the same groin injury that he had in the summer. So they're basically, it's kind of load management through the week with a lot of these players where he's going to be just okay. But everything I'm reading right now seems fine. They're not too worried. But it sounds like the Lions are going to be without their starting center, Frank Ragnow, tomorrow, and without Penny Sewell, which is kind of a big deal. The Lions' offensive line could be in trouble tomorrow. So I guess if you're starting defenses in your league, the Vikings defense might be an interesting piece. Latavius Murray or Melvin Gordon. I wanted to look into that because Melvin Gordon was on the injury report all week. Let me see what I got here for you. Melvin Gordon, where are we? So he returned to practice on Thursday and Friday. He looks good to go. Where did I have that up here? Let me go back to the fantasyfellowship.com. And Latavius Murray on Monday night, it looks like he's the lead back here, so I'm probably going to lean towards Latavius Murray. We know Melvin Gordon's splitting 50-50 with Javonte Williams right now. So I'm hesitant about Melvin Gordon. I guess I do feel okay with Murray here, so that's probably the answer I'm going to do. Both guys look on track to play. Sanders or Devontae Parker. I think Devontae Parker he's questionable to play. So I'm going to say this one's easy for me. I'm going with Emmanuel Sanders. Let me just pull up that Devontae Parker thing right now. So his practice participation this week, he was limited all week with a shoulder injury. They have him listed as questionable. I'm probably trying to get in Jalen Waddle wherever you can. If you guys have Waddle, I'm trying to get him in my lineups. But Parker's listed as questionable. It doesn't sound great or bad or anything. They're still not sure what they want to do with him. So for me, I'm just going to take the safe play with Sanders. Corey Davis, Hunter Renfrow, A-Rob, Mixon, PPR. So the Mixon thing is kind of like it's kind of like the Dalvin Cook injury, like where if Mixon plays, I really don't know if we can give him the full workload that he's been getting, whatever it's 20 touches. So I'm a little bit hesitant on Mixon here. I do like Allen Robinson. Technically, I like Allen Robinson against the Raiders. I think everyone should want to get their guys in against the Raiders. But Corey Davis against Atlanta, that seems to make sense to me. And then Hunter Renfrow, he's been kind of really safe. So for me, this is a question of do you want to take the safe points of Hunter Renfrow, or do you want to gamble and go Allen Robinson, Corey Davis? If you're going to gamble, I'm probably going to gamble with Corey Davis just because we've seen him have success already with 2 nice games with Zach Wilson. So if you're feeling the risky high upside, go with Corey Davis. If you want to just lock in that safe 10 to 12 points, go with Hunter Renfrow. I think that's probably the call. I drop Latavius Murray if I get Mike Davis in AB. I have no problem with that. Especially in full PPR. That make me rethink as 10-team flex. Swift, AJ Brown, Laviska, Debo. We're just choosing one flex here. Oh, man. How do we keep Debo Samuel on the bench right now? I can't keep – I'm probably going to throw Debo in the mix. Just it's too hot. It's too hot right now. So I'm going to go with Debo Samuel. If you don't like Debo, I'm trying to get AJ Brown back in my lineups when I can this week. I think that's a really good spot for him against the Jaguars. But just getting Debo in right now, I think that's almost a must for fantasy right now. Yeah, Jalen Waddle. I think Waddle's going to be a top. I think he's probably going to get maybe 6, 7, 8 catches in this one. Tampa Bay's defense allows a lot of fantasy points. I guess I'm going to hop into a screen share real quick. And yeah, exactly. No Kittle. So Debo Samuel, man, that's kind of the way to go. I'm going to hop into a screen share real quick. I'm just going to go over these fantasy points allowed charts for you guys. You guys can go to thefantasyfellowship.com and you can either hover over here and hit fantasy points allowed, or it's a big orange tab here. And yeah, Kadarius Toney is an interesting guy. I like him as a sleeper this week. Kadarius Toney, he looked really good last week. He had 9 targets and caught 6 for 78. He was just a monster when he got the ball in his hands. He was hard to bring down. So with these charts here, what we're looking at is we're just looking at how many fantasy points each team has allowed in PPR formats right now. So Tampa Bay allowing 22 points to the quarterback. And so that scoring is 4-point passing touchdowns, and basically every 25 yards you get a point. Tampa Bay is really good against running backs. We know that, but the receiving number is just atrocious. So Tampa Bay allowing the most fantasy points. They allow a lot of receivers and tight ends to score. So I'm into Waddle. I'm into Mike Gesicki this week. The Washington football team, they're not very exciting right now on defense. They allow actually the most fantasy points to quarterback. Now they do get Jameis Winston. I'm a little bit nervous about Jameis Winston in a quarterback 1 lineup. He looks fine as a QB2 in Superflex leagues. And then the receiving points here. So Marquez Callaway, like we loved Callaway in the preseason. I don't know if I'm going to trust him in this one here. But the numbers are they're against Washington. They say that the Saints should put up a lot of QB and wide receiver numbers. We already saw the Seahawks play here. But look at the Chiefs here. The Chiefs are playing Buffalo. They allow 25.2 fantasy points to the QB, 29.48 to the running backs, and 35 some to the receivers, and a lot of points to the tight end. So some interesting numbers here. I guess the Dolphins are pretty bad against the running backs here too. So I like Leonard Fournette in this situation. Jamison Crowder or Corey Davis. If it's full PPR, give me Crowder. If it's not, if it's half PPR standard, I'll go with Davis. 10-team PPR flex. I had Cup go for 16. Chase, JT, Jacobs, Juju, Waddle, Devonta, AB, CPAT, Kirk, Chase, just the Packers corner problem. Yeah, the Packers cornerbacks are going to be, I mean, Green Bay's, so far they've been one of the better teams against the wide receivers, but now down one of the best top 5 cornerback in the league right now. I think Green Bay's going to have matchup problems with those 3 receivers for Cincinnati. But I'm looking at this. I'm thinking you got to probably go with Jamar Chase in the flex. Jonathan Taylor going up against the Ravens. I don't know if I like that. Josh Jacobs, an interesting matchup here. Who does Jacobs get? Playing the Bears. The Bears are missing Akeem Hicks, so I can maybe see Josh Jacobs having a nice floor here. But for me, I think the names you're looking at, it's going to be Chase or probably Christian. Not Christian. It's going to be Chase or probably Cordero Patterson. I think at this point I'll probably roll with Chase. I do like Waddle there too, but I'm going to stick with Jamar Chase. We're saying Jets money line and Chiefs -2.5 and Pats -8.5. I like those. And yeah, Tim Patrick is interesting because what's his name? Let me see here. So Cortland Sutton, he rolled his ankle in practice, it says. So Sutton and Tim Patrick were the 2 starting outside receivers. They've already lost Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. They also just put backup tight end Alberto Okwuegbunam on IR here. So the Broncos are rolling out Tim Patrick, Kendall Hinton, and David Moore right now. So I think if you have Cortland Sutton, you're probably benching him this week. I just don't like that with the ankle injury. We'll see. But Tim Patrick's probably a sneaky play for some DFS lineups this week. I like Jalen Waddle a lot too for DFS. And then Kadarius Toney, guys, like he's a high floor guy. Thoughts on the Panthers after the Gilmore trade? Carolina's interesting. I want to go look at their depth chart real quick because they got a handful of corners right now. And I mean, the way Sam Darnold's playing right now, this is probably a playoff team. I mean, so they got CJ Henderson, they got Dante Jackson, AJ Bouye, Rashawn Melvin, and JC Horn coming back at some point. And Stephon Gilmore is just chilling right now. So this secondary is going to be pretty lethal. They're probably going to have 3 corners on the field almost at all times. So this is a kind of an all-in move to secure themselves into the playoffs. And as long as Christian McCaffrey is healthy, this team's going to be a problem. So I like it. I think it puts them in the mix for a wild card spot. And who knows, like, we really need to see Carolina play against some of the other NFC South competition besides, I guess we need to see them against Tampa Bay, and we're not going to see that till week 16. So Carolina likes their schedule. They think they should win most of these games here. So I'm going to say the Panthers are a playoff team with this trade, even before the trade. Non-PPR, Jamar Chase, AB, Chenault, Tyler Boyd, or Zach Moss. Pick one. Whew. The good news, these are all really good options. I think if you're going to pick just one, again, with a standard format, you're asking yourself who's going to score a touchdown. The good news is, I mean, I think all these guys are going to score touchdowns tomorrow. So for me, I'm probably going to go the Zach Moss. Zach Moss has been hot. He's been just hitting 4 touchdowns, I think, in the last 3 games. I like that, but it seems a little risky for me. So for what I'm looking at, I'm probably going with Jamar Chase. I think he's probably a player that's just ingrained into the offense at this point, and he's been scoring touchdowns. He didn't score one last week, so we'll see. But I'm probably going to go with Jamar Chase in this one. And then if you're feeling risky, I really like Laviska Shenault this week. In the league I sent you on Twitter, you said I need miracles. Should I just play Josh Gordon because of AB? In that one, I'm probably I'm gonna leave Josh Gordon on my bench this week. I don't want to run a player out there that could get 5 snaps or 10 snaps or something like that. So I need to see him first before I trust Josh Gordon. AB, Mooney, or Tony, PPR. Start one. In terms of trust, I trust AB the most. If you're feeling risky, I'm gonna start Tony. If you can feel Tony, I'm going with Tony. The Packers have a close game tomorrow and win. I see the Packers winning because Green Bay's offense is going to be hard to stop. I think you're going to see them try to really establish the run against Cincinnati. I just want to pull this up real quick in terms of running back points. So Cincinnati, I mean, they're basically the same as Green Bay in terms of running back points allowed here. So I think we're going to see a huge day for Aaron Jones and maybe some A.J. Dillon mixed in there. Of course, Devontae Adams. I see Green Bay's offense being able to put up more points, and Cincinnati, hopefully, as long as Joe Burrow doesn't make a mistake, they can easily steal this game. I think that it's like a 3-point game between the two for the spread. So it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. It'll come down to the fourth quarter. Hawkinson play tomorrow. And Hawkinson, there's so many guys that are questionable tomorrow. That's what's frustrating about this. We have to really watch and see who is out there for warm-ups and whatnot. Non-PPR, Hunter Renfrow or Kenny Golladay. Already had Lockett and Matthew Stafford go. Non-PPR, give me Kenny Golladay. Give me the guy with the 100-yard upside and the touchdown. I'm going to go Kenny G. And as far as receivers go, they play the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to put up. I'm actually really excited about the Cowboys-Giants game. I think that's going to be some fun fantasy points on that one. So that's probably where I'm looking at Kenny Golladay here. Marvin Jones or Damian Harris, full PPR. Full PPR. I'm leaning again. We're looking at fantasy points allowed here. Tennessee's defense is just not good. They let Corey Davis and Jamison Crowder go nuts last week, as well as Zach Wilson. Tennessee Titans can't defend. I'm probably going to lean with Marvin Jones. Marvin's only had one bad game out of 4 games. No DJ Chark in this one. I think I'm gonna dive into this Tennessee Titans matchup and go with Marvin Jones. I really like Damian Harris, but man, he's just not getting a PPR worthy volume at this point. It's a really nice matchup though. So I'm probably gonna look like an idiot if he scores 2 touchdowns tomorrow, but I'm gonna play with the PPR upside of Marvin Jones here. I just want to pull up the numbers real quick. Marvin Jones, where is he? So he's wide receiver 29 on the season so far. He already has 2 touchdowns, and in a PPR format, I mean, he hits 75% of the time so far. So I'm going to chalk last week up as just an outlier. We'll expect Marvin Jones to get back into that 15 to 20 point range. Yeah, man, it's London football. I'm so excited to wake up and just have football on right away. So enjoy it while we can. I think there's another game next week. And did you guys see the news that we're getting football in Germany next year? This is pretty sick. I'm excited about the expansion of the NFL and the interest. I think it'd be kind of badass to go to try to get to one of these international games. Fields or Burrow? Give me Burrow. I want Joe Burrow. I want as much of Joe Burrow as I can. Packers defense, their Packers are kind of bend but don't break on defense right now, but I just don't know how they're going to contain all 3 of those receivers, and especially with T. Higgins. I'm a huge T. Higgins believer. I think he's a mismatch for what Green Bay is trying to do. Let me just pull this up real quick. So this is FF Today. They do put out projections. I like using them quite a bit. I usually just filter them to ESPN, and they got Joe Burrow low. But I mean, if Joe Burrow gets 254 yards and 2 touchdowns, I'm pretty happy. Justin Fields, they do have Justin Fields down here too. But I'm gonna go with Burrow. He's gonna hit 2 touchdowns for sure. Do you think Joe Mixon will play this week? It's interesting because it sounded like they were optimistic that he was going to play. Let me pull this up real quick. So Mixon, he didn't practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So in my head, this means no. But the fact that they didn't shut him down already, I don't know. I'm thinking we don't see him tomorrow. Just in the past, with the Bengals have one of the most conservative medical staffs in the NFL, and typically, if you don't play or if you don't practice on Thursday, you're not going to end up playing for them. So he wasn't able to practice at all. I'm leaning towards no Joe Mixon tomorrow, but who knows? We could be surprised. And Hawkinson, if he doesn't go, should I scoop up Brate, Conklin, or Max Williams? Max Williams is also dinged up right now, so I'm a little hesitant on him. I think the move might be Brate or Conklin. Let me just double check real quick because the tight end charts real quick. So Cameron Brate going up against Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have allowed 21 catches, 221 yards, and 3 TDs to tight end so far. So Brate's interesting. And then Tyler Conklin's going to get the Detroit Lions. So 251 yards and a touchdown, only 14 catches. So that's not too bad. I'm probably going to say roll with Cameron Brate. If you can't get Hawkinson to go in, I'm going to probably say roll with Cameron Brate. And if you're interested in Cameron Brate, let me pull this up here. I know it wasn't a sexy week last week, but he did I think he hit like 50 snaps last week. And let me see here. And then he went 2 for 29, but he saw 6 targets. So I'm probably going to roll with Cameron Brate in this case. Yeah, Canada would be sweet. That's got to be on the list at some point. Put the game in Toronto or something. Hunt or CPAT. Give me Cordero Patterson. Ross Dwelley is an option there for you, Andrew, if you need a tight end. And he's got value for the next 3 weeks, too, because we know George Kittle is now on IR. So if you're really, really looking for a replacement right now for a few weeks, Ross Dwelley should be on your list here. Do you think I can get this trade off? I get Keenan Allen, give up A-Rob and Waddle. That seems like a good trade. I mean, I love Jalen Waddle, but to get Keenan Allen, I mean, that's one of the safest players you can get in PPR league. So I'm cool with it. Go and try and offer it, so you can get Keenan Allen. This is a DFS question. Would you rather have Dalvin Cook, Terry McLaurin, or Jonathan Taylor and Devontae Adams? I don't want anything to do with Dalvin Cook in DFS. I don't think the volume's going to be there for him. Even if he does play, he's not going to. There's just no way they're going to give him 20 touches on a week where he didn't even practice. Let me just double check to make sure that is correct. I don't think we saw him practice at all, did we? Dalvin Cook. So we got a limited in on Friday. It's the Lions. They shouldn't need him to ball out in this one. So I'm probably going to fade Dalvin Cook. If you can get Jonathan Taylor, I suppose that's fine. I really like Devontae Adams in a smash spot this week. And then since we're talking DFS, we kind of usually pull this up for you guys at the end of the show. Let me just see what we got going on here. We'll do the 12 NFL games. Let's just hit this one. So for running backs, if you're looking at Dalvin Cook at $37, I'd say I'd rather give me Aaron Jones, give me Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler tomorrow. I'd rather have some of those guys. Saquon Barkley looks pretty good against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm into that. Najee Harris is pretty cheap too. And then Jonathan Taylor. Did I miss? Oh, he's on the next slate of games, so I might not be seeing him. And then as far as receivers, paying up for Devontae Adams makes sense, but a guy that I really, really like, I mean, Deebo Samuel's really cheap. CeeDee Lamb is also really cheap. Amari Cooper's dinged up. I know he got the touchdown last week, but CeeDee Lamb just hasn't had that big game since week 1. I could see CeeDee Lamb being due for a bounce back game. So I'm going to say CeeDee Lamb should be on your list. Jalen Waddle should be on your list. T. Higgins should be on the list. I really like Laviska Shenault. He finally got the volume last week. He got six catches for 99 yards. They're using him more down the field with DJ Chark out. So those are just some cheap options. Ricky Seals-Jones. Seals-Jones is interesting. He did play well in relief of our guy Logan Thomas last week. Let me just pull this up real quick. Where is Tricky Ricky? So, I mean, he's the clear number 2 tight end behind Logan Thomas. He did have 4 targets last week, 2 for 19. I would expect him to get more integrated into the offense this week. And if we go look and see, I'm just curious, New Orleans Saints. The Saints are decent against tight end. They've only allowed 20 catches and 180 yards, no touchdowns yet. So maybe you could argue that they're due to allow a Saints are due for a tight end touchdown. And yeah, I'm trying to get Cordero Patterson anywhere that I can. It feels good, especially with Calvin Ridley out. Like you're probably going to see more Cordero Patterson as a receiver here. So Trey Lance or Kirk Cousins. Whew. I'm curious. What does FF Today think of this one? Kirk Cousins against the Lions. I'm nervous about this Lions-Vikings game kind of being a low-scoring game, especially if you're telling me Hawkinson's out. I'm just a little bit concerned about that being a low-scoring game. So they got Trey Lance up here, so I'm gonna say Trey Lance, especially Trey Lance's rushing upside last week was pretty high. So I feel good about Trey Lance in the lineups this week. And they did have Kirk Cousins way down here, so we'll go with Trey Lance. I want Laviska Shenault in my lineup if I can for DFS. He has a high floor, and he's yet to score a touchdown this year. And being 4 weeks into the season, I think you can begin to actually pretty much predict when a player's going to get his first touchdown if he hasn't scored yet. So I'm going to lean with Laviska in this one. I think he's a little bit cheaper too. Where is Corey Davis? Where's Corey Davis? He's in the London game, so he's not in this piece. A-Rob, a top 20 wideout rest of the season. Is this a true or false question? Because I'm not sure I see it. I'm not sure if I believe it. I just want to look and see. I mean, they got all these receivers here, and Allen Robinson's down. I mean, you have Allen Robinson's name in the same sentence as Kenny Golladay, Devonta Smith, Corey Davis. So to me, this is a wide receiver 3. I don't believe he's a top 20 wide receiver the rest of the year. What do you give up to get CPAT? What's his value at? It's probably the worst possible time to trade for Cordero Patterson right now after his massive game last week. And like some sites list him as running back. I know ESPN lists him as a running back, but I just want to see what his PPR value is right now. The man's just been way too hot to trade for, I think, right now. The only way I would trade him is if you're sending him away, because it's the highest value that you can get him right now. So if you want Cordero, you're going to have to pay top dollar for him. You're going to have to pay up basically a second or third round pick. That's kind of the name value that you're going to have to give up right now to get a guy like Cordero. So I think I'm going to hold. Who knows Urban by now? We'll see. Corey Davis is cheaper by $2. I'd say flip a coin with this one. They both feel kind of the same player. If you want to save the dollars by Corey Davis, I'm fine with it. I'm trying to get Laviska in on my lineups this week. Cordero Patterson probably getting Mike Williams hot. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. But man, just you look at the consistency for this man. I mean, he's had 7, 7, 7, and 6 rushing attempts through 4 games. So you're going to pencil him in for minimum 6 carries. Okay. And then for a receiver here, week 1, he wasn't really heavily involved as a receiver, but then you see 6, 7, and 6 targets. So they're trying to get him the ball 12 to 14 times so far, which feels, this looks sustainable. Even if you take away the touchdowns, I mean, consider this. You take away the 1 touchdown from week 2, that's going to put him, I guess he had 2 touchdowns in week 2. That still puts him at 11.9 points. You take away the 3 touchdowns from week 4, that still puts him at 16.6 points. So the guy's got, I mean, you see this too, week 3, and the man's got some pretty impressive high floor upside right now, where so far his worst game is 8 points without a touchdown. So I really like Cordero. How many points does Minnesota win by this week? I'll go 13 to 14 points, probably on the fringe of being a 3-score game. Detroit just usually is pretty feisty at the end of their games. Is Clyde Edwards-Elaire a good play this week? I'm going to lean towards no. Let me show you the running back points here. So this is how many fantasy points teams allow to the running back position. Buffalo Bills are really good. They have allowed no rushing touchdowns and then just 1 as a receiver so far. That's a combined 12.88 PPR points per game to the running back. So I'm going to probably avoid Clyde Edwards. Hill, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, over under 70 fantasy points. So Tyreek Hill going up against the Buffalo Bills. And it's tough because Buffalo, they technically have the number 1 defense against wide receivers. They've only allowed 1 touchdown here. So I'm going to be conservative with Tyreek Hill this week, and especially after what he did last week. You're not going to get that again probably. So I'll be conservative with Tyreek Hill. I'm going to say 10 to 15 point floor this week. Justin Jefferson, though, going up against Detroit. Where is Detroit? Detroit's middle of the road. They're only allowing 33 points per game to the receivers. I'm still gonna give Justin Jefferson upside of 20, and then DJ Moore. Where is DJ Moore going up against Philly? I can see him having a good game, but they only allow 31 points to receivers per game, and he's kind of the best guy. So I'm gonna give him 20. I think you're probably looking at somewhere between 50 and 60 as your floor, but you're gonna need Tyreek Hill's gonna have to be the X factor in this one. If Tyreek Hill goes over 30. Then I feel pretty good about it. But for sure, expect 50 to 60 points between those guys. Get a rushing TD this week. That one feels pretty good, actually. I like Justin Fields to get a rushing touchdown. It's a 50-50 call. He's just getting settled into the offense right now, where I think we start to see him get a little bit more loose, especially this week. But I wanted to see real quick because they're playing the Raiders. Yes, Raiders versus QB. So far, the Raiders allowed Jacoby Brissett to rush for a touchdown. They allowed Lamar Jackson to go 12 for 86. Jacoby Brissett 7 for 37. So the Raiders, I mean, it's Lamar Jackson, but they allowed Jacoby Brissett to get a little loose here. So that's interesting. We're going on about 35 minutes here. I'll hang out for another 3-4 minutes if you guys want to fire up your final questions. Would you rather have Clyde Edwards and Derrick Henry, or Jonathan Taylor and someone else who is not Clyde? Well, I mean, if you wanted a really cheap running back, let me see if I can find one for you. One of the names that we didn't talk about was Chase Edmonds being. I mean, here's a free 5K free roll here. If you're looking for a cheap running back here, I mean, James Conner's pretty cheap. Chase Edmonds is questionable right now. But otherwise, if you really wanted a cheap running back here, Leonard Fournette against Miami, this one feels really good, as well as Damian Williams versus LV. To me, I don't want anything to do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And as much as I like Jonathan Taylor, but it's hard to trust, I would say that. And then Baltimore's defense right now, where are you, Baltimore Ravens? So Baltimore's allowing rushing touchdowns. I guess they've allowed 5 rushing touchdowns on the season. So maybe if I had to choose, because you probably can't do Henry and Jonathan Taylor, I think that's probably out of the question. For me, I'd probably rather spend cheap and avoid Jonathan Taylor. But I like Derrick Henry this week. Which team will get a pick 6 this week? Let me see. Pick 6, 2021. NFL. Most pick. Yep. I think this is a StatMuse question. I can get this on StatMuse here. I just want to see who's already gotten interceptions for touchdowns. So it's Mike Edwards. So Mike Edwards, Tampa Bay. Which team will get the pick 6 this week? Let me look at this schedule real quick. Which team will get the pick 6 this week? I'm going to say New England. Give me New England against Davis Mills. That's the bet. Aaron Jones and J-Rob over under 40 fantasy points. That one feels like over to me. I like both guys to hit 20. Osborne is droppable. I'd rather have Kadarius Toney than KJ Osborne at this point. If he's available, I think that's a good move. What time will we know Cook plays? So when they say it's a game time decision, the players go out on the field about 90 minutes before kickoff to do some light jogging and some catching and just some stuff as far as stretching. So 90 minutes before the game is usually when we know. So whatever time frame you're at, whatever time zone you're in, just go 90 minutes before kickoff. When is Javonte Williams getting the keys? Well, with Melvin Gordon dinged up, I think we're getting very close. Like Melvin Gordon is just getting, nicked and dinged as the season goes on, and Javonte continues to look good and bust some big runs. So it's close. I'm curious here about the Broncos' upcoming schedule. Let me look at this real quick. They play the Raiders, the Browns, the Redskins, or the Washington football team. My bad. It's coming soon. I like this stretch here for Cowboys, Eagles, Chargers, Chiefs, Lions, Bengals, Raiders. Like, it's going to happen at some point in a couple weeks. And yeah, the Patriots, best chance for a pick 6. Deshaun Jackson, interesting player for a potential scoop on the waiver wire here. Where did I was looking at something. Anyways, get your final questions in here. I'm going to sign off in a minute. I wish you guys good luck tomorrow. I just want to pull up the projections again real quick. This is fftoday.com. If you guys want to go check out their stuff, it's a site I've just used for forever. I like their stuff here. They have some accurate projections and whatnot. Is Bourne, Cedric Wilson worth picking up and dropping Osborne? Not Cedric Wilson, because Michael Gallup's on his way back too. Kendrick Bourne, I don't know if I trust him entirely. If you're looking for a receiver to pick up, it's hard for me to tell which receivers might be out there. I'm assuming Kadarius Toney isn't available because we were talking about Kadarius Toney. Either maybe one of the Detroit Lions wide receivers, Quintez Cephas or Khalif Raymond. Again, I really like Kadarius Toney. If someone dropped Harris Marshall or some of these rookie receivers, I'm interested there. But yeah, I mean, you see KJ Osborne's way the hell down here. Even again, these Detroit Lions wide receivers, even Elijah Moore, maybe Brian Edwards, some guys like that. But I don't know if I see the value for Kendrick Bourne and Cedric Wilson, especially with our guy coming back. I really like Van Jefferson too. I thought Van Jefferson has looked pretty good this year so far. So, or if you want to just snag a handcuff this week, go pick up some backup running backs. I think that's always a good idea. But anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. If you guys need to hit me up tomorrow with questions, you can follow me on Twitter at theFellowKGB, or go check out some of these other links here. You can hit me up on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you need for questions, or just comment the video here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good rest of your evening. Good luck tomorrow. We'll see you later. Peace.